Black screen story time, old-fashioned radio style, whispers in the shadows. In the heart of a small, remote town, nestled among dense woods and shrouded in an eerie silence, there stood an old, dilapidated house. It was a house that had seen generations come and go, but none had left their mark as profoundly as the presence that now lurked within. The lone occupant of the house was Chelsea, a woman of solitary habits. She lived with her small dog, a loyal companion named Max, whose perky ears were the only source of comfort in her lonely existence. Chelsea had chosen this house, once filled with laughter and love, as a retreat from the world, hoping to find solace within its walls. Little did she know that those walls held their own secrets, and they were anything but comforting. As the sun dipped below the horizon each evening, the atmosphere in the house would change. Shadows seemed to stretch and twist, and the air grew heavy with an oppressive, otherworldly presence. Sometimes she could see her own breath from the air turning cold around her. It was during these dark hours that the house came alive with an eerie energy. One night, as Chelsea settled into her creaking bed, Max, sensing something awry, stood at the bedroom doorway. His small barks raised and let out a low, guttural growl down the pitch-black hallway, as his hair stood up on his back and his eyes focused down the dark hallway that led to the rest of the house. Chelsea clutched her bed sheets, her heart pounding as fear took hold. She called Max back to her side, trying to soothe him and herself with whispered reassurances. But as they lay there, a chilling breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candle she had lit next to the bed. The house plunged into a cold darkness, and Chelsea's pulse quickened. From the black abyss of the hallway, an ominous whispering began, like a chorus of voices murmuring words too ancient to understand. Chelsea's breath trembled, her voice quivered, and she felt an unsettling presence approach her bedside. She strained her eyes, searching for something, anything in the darkness. But there was only emptiness, and then a soft, ghostly hand, ice-cold and clammy, brushed against her cheek. Chelsea screamed and scrambled away, crashing into her nightstand, her heart pounding. Max barked frantically, his tiny form ready to defend his owner against the unseen. Objects around the room began to move as if manipulated by invisible hands. The framed photographs on the wall swayed back and forth, and a heavy old mirror in the corner shattered with an ear-piercing crash. The room felt like a maelstrom of malevolence, as if the very walls were conspiring to torment Chelsea. Each night grew worse than the last, and Chelsea's once calm demeanor now withered with terror. Max's barking fits down the dark hallway became a nightly ritual, and objects throughout the house seemed to conspire against her. She couldn't sleep, couldn't find peace, and every corner of the house held the promise of dread. In the eerie, unforgiving grip of her haunted home, Chelsea became a prisoner of her own fear. She knew not what malevolent force had been awakened in the house, nor what dark secrets it sought to uncover. All she knew was that her nights were filled with whispers in the shadows, and each day brought her closer to the brink of madness. Chelsea's neighbors stopped seeing her at all and soon became concerned. As a neighbor stopped by one evening after many days had passed, as he stepped up onto the wooden creaky deck, the front door opened on its own. When he called out to Chelsea, there was no reply. He stepped inside and yelled for her again. He could hear a voice calling from down the hallway. As he headed that direction, feeling as maybe Chelsea could be hurt or ill. When he had went through every room in the house, he did not find Chelsea. All that remained was a breakfast served still on the plate, like it had never been touched, and her purse sat on the counter, her wallet inside, and her car keys. The neighbor looked out the window to see if Chelsea's car was there, and when he did, in the glass behind him, he saw a reflection of Chelsea holding Max. He turned around. "Oh, you startled me," he exclaimed, but as he quickly turned around, there was no one there. He flipped his gaze back to the reflection, and there was Chelsea and Max, standing in the reflection behind him. He said softly with a quivering voice, "I'm sorry, Chelsea, I came by to check on you." In that instance, Chelsea and Max vanished from the reflection and was never seen again. The house was boarded up and sat for many years abandoned. Sometimes late at night, you can see a mysterious dim light from inside the house and hear Max barking. Is this a true story? That is for you to decide. The end. Want more ghost stories? Like and subscribe.